Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at 7. I'm Tracey McCain.
I'm Caitlin Nuclo. You're watching Eyewitness News here on the Wax. We appreciate that. A lot to talk about. But first, let's get the details on that forecast. We'll say hello to meteorologist Gilardi as we look ahead to a short week for a lot of folks. Thanksgiving coming up.
It's a good vibe, you know. It's
Yeah.
something to look forward to. I know I'm looking forward to see my family in a few days. And of course, traveling, we might not be looking forward to the kind of forecast we're going to get for Thanksgiving especially. But even some rain in the forecast tomorrow. So just want to give you a first alert. But we are dry. We're beautiful to start off the week. But we have that first alert weather day for impacts to holiday travel on Thanksgiving. Right now, though, it's calm outside. It's clear. It's 31. This is normal for this time of year to be that cool. We forget what's normal anymore. The winds are a little breezier inland. You get up towards Hartford, 12-mile-per-hour wind. So it does create a cooler feel. So you're going to dress for those upper 20s, low 30s, and maybe some mid 30s. But all in all, not bad. And even some upper 20s is actually how it feels outside because of a little bit of a breeze. But a beautiful day ahead. Today's the day to knock out anything outside. You know, any traveling around the state, locally, it is going to be perfect. So the temperatures will be climbing into the upper 40s, low 50s, slightly above average for this time of year. No complaints. We're not going to have those wind gusts like we had over the weekend. And so again, if you have all these leaves that you've been holding off on tackling, like myself, today would be the day to go ahead and do so. Tomorrow, though, we have rain in the forecast. We'll be timing that out for you if you have plans to, again, head out tomorrow instead. And we'll, of course, talk about Thanksgiving. I'll be back again a little bit later. Caitlin.
All right, thanks, Jill. Good morning, everyone. 7:02. If you're getting ready to head out the door here this morning, a majority of the state very quiet out there. No crashes, no major incidents. That daytime construction work picks up just about between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. That's when the majority of those active work zones are going to be present. But again, we're looking pretty good out there. You'll need the sunglasses on your ride. You probably need the heat on in the car as well. Live look in Hartford, 91 north and southbound, and Waterbury, 84 east and westbound. You can see some traffic volume picking up on the westbound side there. Meriden, a live look, 691 east and westbound, and in Middletown along Route 9, things still moving along very well there. Again, not dealing with any major incidents out there, but we are seeing those delays. Just about a 2-hour ride now, 95 southbound New Haven to the George Washington Bridge. We're also seeing heavier delays along the Parkway, which is very normal, but just expect some heavier than usual traffic volume down through Fairfield County this morning. I'm Caitlin Francis with your Connecticut Chevy First Alert Traffic Report, driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
Well, breaking overnight here in Hartford, police are investigating after a shooting on Garden Street.
Police tell us a man in his 20s was dropped off at the hospital suffering from a gunshot wound. It was alert and conscious. Still no word on any suspects. We'll, of course, bring you the very latest as we learn more. Another breaking story we're on top of this morning. We have just learned a motorcyclist has died after a crash in Colchester. Police say 35-year-old Justin Karninian of Tallinn evaded police on his motorcycle and was driving recklessly on Lebanon Avenue. He lost control and crashed at the Wyndham Avenue intersection. Lifestar flew him to the hospital, but again, we have just learned this morning he died.
Well, this morning, an accused killer is locked up in police custody after investigators finally tracked him down in Puerto Rico. Lance Morales is now facing a long list of charges after police say he shot and killed a young mother and her 4-month-old baby. This happened in Hartford last week.
Yeah, Eyewitness News reporter Olivia Schuler is live now with more details from outside Hartford Police with what's next in the investigation.
We know Lance Morales will be extradited from Puerto Rico back to Connecticut. It comes after U.S. Marshals found him inside a home in Puerto Rico. Now, the mayor of Hartford says this goes to show if you do something wrong here in the city, you will be found. People across Hartford continue to mourn the lives of 20-year-old Josiah Micardo and her 4-month-old son, Maziah Diaz. Tomorrow, a week after the two were killed in a car on New Britain Avenue, a vigil will be held there to remember the lives tragically lost. After the horrible act of violence, officials in the state wasted no time to track down the accused killer. Hartford police tell us that U.S. Marshals in Connecticut and Massachusetts developed information that Morales fled to Puerto Rico. The U.S. Marshal Puerto Rico Violent Fugitive Task Force quickly found and arrested Morales in a home in Puerto Rico. He's now facing charges including criminal possession of a firearm, first-degree assault, criminal attempt to commit first-degree assault, and 2 counts of murder, among other charges. He soon will be extradited back to Connecticut. The mayor of Hartford says U.S. Marshals and police work shows no matter what, people will be held accountable.
In 4 days, they found this guy who committed a murder, potentially here in the city of Hartford, and then fled to Puerto Rico. In 4 days, they found him, tracked him down, and arrested him. I think it sends a strong message. If you're going to commit a heinous act here in our city, we're going to find you no matter where you go.
Now, the mayor says despite this horrible act of violence, right now there is a lower rate of shootings in comparison to years past. In Hartford, Olivia Schuler, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, right now in New Haven, the person who police say shot and killed a teenager in the middle of the day is still on the run.
Now, this is the latest shocking crime in a string of violence in the city. And today, a local group is stepping up to try to make people feel safe. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Marcy Jones joins us in New Haven with those details. So what's going on there, Marcy?
Good morning, Tracy and Caitlin. Well, if you have a student in the area, you may notice some community members patrolling the bus stops. That is all part of this large effort to try and keep the city safe. Now, the call to action from police to community members really goes above and beyond the typical. If you see something, say something. There's also an award on the table for anybody who has information that leads to an arrest. New Haven police responded to a ShotSpotter notification on Hudson and Goff Street just after 2:30 Friday afternoon. That's where they found a wounded 16-year-old boy that was immediately taken to Yale New Haven Hospital, where sadly he did not survive. Officers say during the chaos, a nearby school bus carrying students was struck by stray gunfire. Thankfully, no one was injured. While police say they have a reason to believe the 16-year-old, whose name has not yet publicly been released, was targeted, this is just one of many disturbing acts of violence plaguing the city. This marks the 10th homicide for New Haven this year, prompting action like increased patrols at bus stops and more surveillance around the city.
We have a lot of new cameras throughout the city that have helped us solve a number of shootings and homicides, and we'll continue to do everything we can to keep our community safe.
Again, the 1 in 5 Foundation is offering a $5,000 reward for anybody who has information that leads to an arrest. While the investigation continues, police are encouraging anybody with knowledge of the crime to give them a call immediately. Reporting live in New Haven, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, this morning, 7 people have to find a new place to stay after a fire broke out in New Haven. The chief tells us crews were called to a home on Clifton Street. Firefighters discovered that a fire had broken out in the basement there. All 7 people inside and their pets made it out. No one was hurt. Right now, though, there's no word on how the fire started.
Also this morning, the Red Cross helping a family of 6 find a place to stay after their apartment caught fire in Hartford. It happened on Gillette Street Sunday morning. Crews were able to get the flames under control, but not before seriously damaging one unit. Right now, we're working to learn what started the fire. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
All right, everybody. Roger Suzanne here checking in live at the First Alert Desk. And right now we are tracking some developing news that could impact your holiday travel plans, specifically if you're heading south for Thanksgiving. As we were on the air this morning at 6 o'clock, airport workers walked off the job site in Charlotte. Now, here's the deal. Service employees at the Charlotte airport went on strike to protest what they call unlivable pay scale. Their union represents workers who take care of a bunch of behind-the-scenes issues on American Airlines flights. We're talking about things like cleaning the interior of planes as well as escorting passengers who use wheelchairs. Now, 5 flights are scheduled today from Bradley to Charlotte. One already left on time at 6 a.m. and the others are still not delayed at this point. Of course, we'll keep you posted if that changes. Live at the First Alert Desk, I'm Roger Zen. Caitlin, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Roger, thank you. Well, this morning, a woman from Hartford is due in court after police say she led them on a wild chase on 84. 24-year-old Tiara Turner was apparently driving the wrong way on the highway in Manchester Sunday. Police tried to pull her over right near exit 62, and she took off. Police say they caught up with Turner, and they eventually arrested her in East Windsor.
Well, this morning, Deep is investigating after a man fell off a cliff and suffered serious injuries at Old Furnace State Park in Killingly. Officials say 2 men were climbing last night when one of them fell. Crews rushed him to the hospital, and right now we're working to learn more details about his condition.
Well, right now, we're also working to learn more about another climber who fell off a cliff, this one in Killingsworth. Deep investigators rushed out to Chatfield Hollow State Park yesterday. They were able to rescue a 49-year-old, take him to the local hospital. We're still waiting to learn more about the condition. Well, now this morning, President-elect Donald Trump has solidified most of his cabinet picks.
He's tapped potential secretaries of Housing, Labor, Agriculture, and Treasury. If investor Scott Bessent is approved, he'll be the first openly gay secretary to lead the Department of Treasury.
CBS polling data shows Americans say they're optimistic about Trump's second term and are satisfied with his cabinet picks and how he's been handling the transition back to the White House.
All right, with Thanksgiving just days away, groups across the state are helping make sure those who are facing food insecurity have something yummy on the table. In Hartford, a local resident, Shamika LeBron, is hosting a sit-down Thanksgiving meal for anyone in need to spend the holiday. This is on Thanksgiving Day, dinner running from noon until 3 on Park Street in Hartford. You can also donate to help feed these folks. You can call Shamika at the number on your screen.
And on Thanksgiving in New Haven, the Downtown Evening Soup Kitchen and Interfaith volunteer caregivers are giving out holiday meals as well. You can register to receive those meals on the group's website. Deliveries start at 8:30 in the morning.
Well, great weather to be doing special things like that for folks, delivering those turkeys and meals. We have beautiful weather on tap for today. Already look at that. Sunshine, Middletown, a little cool out there this morning, but nothing abnormal for this time of year. So bright conditions locally, but we're monitoring the weather back to our west because that is where our next system is developing and heading in our way. Right now, the temperatures range from as cold as 29 in Salisbury, 28 in Meriden, 37 in Willimantic. And a first alert futurecast shows this afternoon we'll climb into the upper 40s, low 50s, so a little bit above average. Clouds don't roll in until late in the day, so bright all day long. As we look ahead towards tomorrow, giving you a first alert, allow a little extra travel time because after 7 o'clock in the morning, here comes the rain, and it could be a quick burst of moderate rainfall. As we look ahead towards 10 o'clock in the morning, looks pretty damp out there tomorrow, but look at that by 2 o'clock, it is basically exiting eastern Connecticut. Temperatures rebounding, climbing into the 50s. And then we are focused on our first alert weather day for Thanksgiving. More on the rain and possible snow coming up in just a few minutes. Tracy?